Tefillah generally is the most intimate one could become with a Kodesh Baruch Hu, which is talking to a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Talk to him, because he's listening to you. We have Taryag mitzvahs, but the most intimate and the most personal one of them all is davening. Ask him for your needs and believe that he is waiting. He is waiting for your tefillahs. HaKadosh Baruch Hu mesavel et tefillosan shel tzadikim. And when it comes to davening, each and every one of you should feel like a tzaddik. Because you are tzaddikim fundamentally. Shiva boy that's dedicating all his day to learning and to davening is a tzaddik. And you need to believe, and not only believe, but also to feel HaKadosh Baruch Hu mesavel et tefillosan shel tzadikim. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is waiting for your tefillahs. And he has open ears waiting for your tefillahs. So tefillah is the ultimate kirvus Elokim. And that's why the Gemara says in Tanis Abeis Amud Aleph, Ei zui avodah shebelev, zu tefillah. No other mitzvah comes from your heart and touches your heart more than tefillah. So the Baal Shem Tov explained the Gemara in Brochas Davav. Mai dechsiv karum zulis levnei Adam, the Pasuk in Tehillim. Devarim ha'oimdim berumay shel olam, uvnei Adam mezalzelim behem. And that's tefillah. So the Baal Shem Tov explained, what brings people to be mezalzel in tefillah? How could people be mezalzel in tefillah? It is because of a very painful phenomenon, which most of us felt more than once in their lives. Not necessarily young bocher, but anybody that has white hair. And it happens to everyone. A member of your family is desperately ill. And we come together and we daven and we cry to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we organize minyanim by the Kaisel and we cry out from the depth of our hearts. And sometimes nothing happens. And the person passes away and we don't see any effect our tefillahs had. And ultimately, not because we want to, but even subconsciously, it brings a certain zilzul in tefillah. So the Baal Shem Tov said, Dvorim ha'oimdim berumay shel olam. You should believe and know that every tefillah that has proper kavanah goes up to the heavens, to the kisei hakavod. No tefillah ever sinks into oblivion. No tefillah goes unheard. No proper tefillah goes unanswered. But sometimes we may never know how HaKadosh Baruch Hu answered our tefillahs. What did he do with our tefillahs? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what is good and what needs to be. You daven for one thing and HaKadosh Baruch Hu grants you another. You daven that your business should be successful and HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you life instead of wealth. We would never know what HaKadosh Baruch Hu did with our tefillahs, but we need to believe, as the Baal Shem Tov explains, tefillah is dvorim ha'oimdim berumay shel olam. So never be mezalzel in tefillah. And the Gemara says, hisparel odem v'lo ina'ana. Person davened, and his prayers weren't answered. Ma yaseh? Yachzor v'yitparel. Shenamar kaveh el Hashem. Chazak v'yamitz lebecho. V'kaveh el Hashem. Don't be misyayish. Daven again and again and again. And don't think to yourself, but I already davened and HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't listen to me. He did. He did. And maybe you need to daven more. Maybe the first set of tefillahs did something great you're not aware of, but your second set might be answered in the way you want it to be answered. So never stop davening. Yachzor v'yisparel. Shenemar, kaveh el Hashem, chazak v'yamitz lebecho v'kaveh el Hashem. I don't recall whether I shared with you, but I probably did, because this is a thought I shared many, many, many times. As you all probably know, Moshe Rabbeinu davened Tov Kuf Tes Vav Tefillas, Keminyan ve'eschanan. Ve'eschanan is Begamatya 515. Moshe davened 515 tefillas with one request. Please, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, let me go into the Holy Land. Let me go into Eretz Yisrael. I was Moisei Nefesh, the Medrash says, carrying this stubborn people in my lap for years. Please, let me go into Eretz HaKadosh together with them. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, no, it is not to be. So for many years I wondered, what happened with those 550 tefillahs? What happened? Is it reasonable to believe nothing happened? Moshe Rabbeinu was the greatest tzaddik in history, greater than anyone before him and greater than anyone that would come after him. 515 tefillahs did nothing. Libi yoimeli. And now we're going to do a little arithmetic. 3 times in Shas, Rosh Hashanah, Vayetzei, and Sanhedrin, the Gemara says, Shit alfin shnin have alma. The world in its present form will exist for 6,000 years. Medrash Oisi is the Rebbe Kiva, there's more an exact number. Shit alfen v'tzadik gimel shonim. 6,093 years. That's what the Medrash says. I don't know what the significance of 6,093 dafka. And it's not necessarily a machlokes between the Goramor and the Medrash. It's not really an afkamin and halacha, so maybe Chazal and Babli just round out the number. But in Medrash it says 6,093 years. Does anybody know who was the first Jewish historian? Who was the first Jewish historian? So most of the Jewish histories were written by Maskilim, Dubnov and Gretz and others. The first Jewish historian was the great Tana Rabbi Yossi ben Chalafta. And he wrote Seder Olam. Seder Olam is quoted twice in Shas, Yavo Messiah Beis and Nided Af Mem Vov. And Seder Olam is a brief history from Odom Harishon till the Tkuf of the Tanoim, composed by Rabbi Yossi ben Chalafta, one of Chameshes Rabbi Seinu Shebedorim, the great Talmidim of Rabbi Kiva ben Yosef. So Moshe Rabbeinu passed away, Beis Alofim Tov Pei Ches Mebrias Uolam. 2,488 years Mebrias Uolam. If you subtract 2,488 from 6,093, you're left with 3,605. And that is exactly Tov Kuf Tes Vav Shmitten. 7 times 515 is 3,605. Libi yoimali. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gets these precious tefillahs. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows, never before and never again will I have these precious tefillahs from Moshe Rabbeinu, the greatest individual ever to live. What am I going to do with these tefillahs? Will I grant Moshe Rabbeinu's request? Let him go into Eretz Yisrael? Moshe Rabbeinu's children, Klal Yisrael, desperately will need these tefillahs to make it to the finishing line. Because Baruch Hu knows how difficult this galus would be. Thousands of years of galus, of Hester Ponim, of pain and suffering and darkness. How will we guarantee that they'll make it? They need these tefillahs. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes those tough kuf tes vav tefillahs, and instead of granting Moshe Rabbeinu's request, those tefillahs keep us going for 515 shmittin. So not always, even the greatest of tzaddikim, not always are his prayers answered the way he wanted. But they always do something. Did I uncover something Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know? No, that's impossible. So the Medrash says in Parshas Vayetzei Brocha, when Moshe Rabbeinu davens and he pleads with the Kodesh Baruch Hu, Ebrunu ve'ere es ha'oretz ha'toivo. Kodesh Baruch Hu says, Moshe, wait a minute, stop. In the past, you asked me, Slachno la'avoinu amazeh. And now you're asking, Ebrono. It is for you to decide, what do you want, Slachno or Ebrono? And I will do whatever you want. Kodesh Baruch Hu tells Moshe. But you need to choose. Is it Ebrono or Slachno? What did Moshe Rabbeinu choose? Obviously, he said, if it's for me to choose, then I'm staying right here. I want to care for all the coming generations of Eden. And that is why Moshe Rabbeinu didn't come into Eretz Yisrael, and that is why we're still around, because of Moshe Rabbeinu's choice. And he says, Slachno comes before Ebrono. So every tefillah goes up l'shamayim. And that is the importance of tefillah and the importance of tefillah b'tzibur. I forgot to mention that today's shir, I did have in mind, but I didn't mention it. Today's shir is dedicated L'iloi Nishmosai of Rav Tzaddik, Rabbi Yankiv Yisrael ben Shlomo Shmuel, the grandfather of our beloved Rosh Hashiva. As you probably know, the Rosh Hashiva comes from Rebbeisha ancestry. His grandfather was the Chernobyl Rebbe, and he's a Ben Achaben from the great Chernobyl Rebbes of Yor, Reb Aaron Chernobyl, and the Chernobyl Magid. So today's shir is dedicated L'iloi Nishmosai of Rabbi Yankiv Yisrael ben Reb Shlomo Shmuel. Rosh Hashiva, your great Zaidi, should be a Meretz Yosef for the entire family, and you should be able to keep up your amazing Harbotzas Torah b'shalva, b'simcha, b'nachas, and we should all share b'sodas Torahs. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should be Shomea Tfilas Kol Peh Amei Yisrael Barachamim, and we should see Be'idgalia how our prayers are answered, and we should be Zoicha L'Rachamei Shamayim and B'kora B'yameinu L'Irois Pnei Moshiach Tzedkeinu B'mheru V'yomeinu Amen. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos.